Listen, for me, you know what's been my primary struggle. It's been just the modality. I told you this. Like this guy in shul came up to me in my shul. He's like, "How old are you?" And I'm like, 41. He's like, "No shiznit." And then he just go. He
He said
just
it. He said that. He said
no. He
that.
was just like, "No, really?" Like no, whatever. He's like the guy who runs like the kiddush club in the shul, whatever. And
Yeah.
he's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Okay.
So he's
Stand up
like,
guy.
I have a
Stand up guy.
24-year-old niece. She's very beautiful. I'm just like, everybody's niece is beautiful, conveniently. I respond to him in that way. Like he knows me, so he kind of like laughed. And then he's just like, and then at some point he asked me like, how is it? I'm single, and I told him, listen, man, because this guy grew up from, but he was actually like close with Rabbi Kahana in the '70s. This guy, and I'm like, listen, man, I became from when I was 31 years old. I was engaged when I was 33. It didn't work out. Since age 33, I'm basically toiling in no man's land when it comes to dating, in terms of like froom dating. When as it pertains to, like, if I come to a rabbi or a shadchan, Balei Tshuva, dude, you have to understand something. Balei Tshuva are considered, this is not outright said, but it's understood. We are considered second class citizen when it comes to the dating world. We are. There's no arguing this. There's no refuting this. There's no arguing this. It is the way it is. These people, we are not second class citizens, right? We're not chop liver, but that's how they consider us. Why? Because we
You know
don't
who
have.
we are? I just realized.
Just
I
to,
just realized who we are.
just let me.
We're the Benjaminites. We're the remaining
Yeah,
Benjaminites after the Civil War.
yeah. Listen, dude, we don't have. I don't have yichus. Nobody can. They can't place me. If I come to somebody's dude, even like, this happened even in Crown Heights. I came to this one guy, whatever, prominent person in Crown Heights, business owner. I didn't know what I was doing. Somebody referred me to him. Because he was Russian speaker apparently, and this Russian speaker I met referred me to him. But this guy was like the Russian speaker who referred me was an older man who doesn't know the social dynamics of that neighborhood, even though he lives there. You know, and he's just like, yeah, go to this guy. I was like 34. He has a daughter or daughters, 27, 26, whatever. Like, okay, totally naive, man. I just moved into Crown Heights. I go to this guy, and this guy's asking me all kinds of like, where'd you go to yeshiva? Did you go to Kfar Chabad? Did you go to, trying to figure out if I'm part of the Lubavitch Welt, you know? And I'm like, no, I went to Chappelle's, and he didn't even know what I was talking about. I could have told him I
Yeah.
went to space yeshiva on the moon, on Elon Musk yeshiva. So like, yeah, this guy was just like, yeah, let me talk to my wife, AKA, you know, talk to you never. So I learned that like I'm nowhere. I'm nowhere in this frum world when it comes to dating. I'm nowhere, much less the frum world when it comes to other things, but dating first and foremost. And then you learn after a few years that ultimately, as much as people claim to be helping and claim to be wanting to, they want to set you up, they wanted this, they wanted that, they want to invite you here, they wanted you to come to an event. I'm going to quote my friend, who we both know. She has a very famous phrase, two words. Nobody cares. Ultimately, when it comes to finding you a spouse, nobody cares. Nobody can help you. Nobody cares. The only one who can help you is you, obviously, and Hashem. That's it.
Yeah.
They care about the girl. Let's say if you're a guy, they care about the girl. Yeah, they have a girl for you. They'll try to set you up with a girl who grew up frum, but it's not going to be a girl who is like, you know, superstar of their community. It's going to be a girl who someone forgot. She's in her whatever age. She might be divorced. She might have a kid or two or three. And you are the friar, as they say in Israel, who they found for her.
You know what? As you're saying all this, I'm going to say something. I'm going to, as Macrovi says.
Macrovi? Who's Macrovi?
Macaroni from France.
Oh, Macaroon?
Yeah, the very French Prime Minister.
Gay Prime Minister from France?
Right. Okay? He says, I'm going to piece you off right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I get actually no joy out of this.
Okay.
But I think you might be wrong, or maybe we might be wrong in terms of, because I've also felt the way that you felt, not with the dating stuff. Because to be honest with you, I never wanted, I was never attracted to girls from the religious community. I'm not
attracted to most FFB girls. Even if they're like good looking, they don't have much. There's nothing to. Again, you're gonna disagree with me.
They don't have the sexual appetite of a late '70s frat girl.
No,
not frat girl.
Actually not.
Sorority girl.
That's actually not true. What I'm talking about is not that. What I'm talking about is,
It's true, dude. It's true.
No, it's not, because there was almost something that was done that was wrong, and it wasn't done. That was initiated by one of these people on me, and I had to respectfully decline, because it would have been something that would have gone down a wrong path. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Let's not get too specific.
Yeah, I'm not getting specific. I'm just saying the person grew up religious, and there was like a Shabbos, whatever, weekend, like singles. And Motzei Shabbos, the person was like, it's like 1 a.m. and then the person's like, hey, I'm here by myself. My roommate left. The Shabbaton, she went home. And I basically said, that's nice. I'm going to sleep. This person grew up religious, and
okay, but clearly they grew up in a religious environment. Doesn't mean that they seem to have not gone that way. They seem to have gone another way.
The person stayed that way later on, and the person got married a few years later.
Okay. Later on, people have the option, to essentially make the decisions they want. They become. Yeah. They move a little bit further away. They come closer. Mm-hmm. Whatever. That's not what we're talking about. What I'm saying is I feel like I couldn't relate culturally, and which means it also means sexually to girls from religious world, because it's just it didn't feel like we can talk about what you know what I mean? Whatever. Yeah. So, and of course I'm right, mm-hmm. but what I'm trying to say is that I don't think that we, in terms of, I have some other stuff that I hold a grudge, mm-hmm. not a grudge, but I got a chip on my shoulder. Mm-hmm. You got a chip on your shoulder about the dating thing. Mm-hmm. I got a chip on my shoulder about some other stuff. Okay. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, this chip on our shoulder is because of an entitled attitude that we have.
I don't know that I feel necessarily entitled.
Hold on. This ain't an argument. I'm just telling you my opinion, and I'm just, you don't obviously, you don't have to agree, but just hear me out another 2 minutes. Okay. Less than 2 minutes. Okay. Less. Okay. All right. If you have somebody who, let's say, is essentially an outsider. Mm-hmm. Okay, so according to what the Torah says, mm-hmm. right? It doesn't always match even what the religious community, what we call the religious community, does. Yeah. Okay, this community there's a lot of things that we don't appreciate about it. This is a community of this is not a normal situation. These are not normal circumstances. This is like 2,000 years of survival mode.
No, basically. I know. We spoke about that.
And that's led that's led to a lot of problems. It's actually led to health problems, right? Because of not a big gene, gene pool, right? That's led to certain issues. Okay, but it's all in all of these measures that they've taken, right? Making themselves look really different and weird to everybody else that they wouldn't be attractive to. You know what I mean? That's that was another technique as to how to preserve that way of life, or some aspect of the way of life of Torah life. You know what I mean? This is extreme. It's when you're looking at the religious Jewish community, what you're looking at is something like City of Ember. Did you ever see City of Ember? We've spoken about this.
No.
Google. This is actually. I think this is something interesting. I think this is Can you Google it? City of Ember.
Yeah. 2008.
Just read the plot.
When an unspecified global catastrophe looms, an underground city known as Ember is constructed to shelter a large group of survivors. In addition, a small metal box intended for a future generation of Emberites is timed to open after 200 years. This box is entrusted to the mayor of the city of Ember, and each mayor passes it on to his or her successor. When the seventh
Bill Murray was the mayor. Anyway,
when the seventh mayor dies suddenly, the succession is broken. Oh, that sounds familiar.
Wow.
Does that sound familiar to you? And over time, the box's significance is forgotten. The box opens by itself at the allotted time, but it goes unnoticed. Several decades later, Ember's generator begins to fail, and food and medicine and other necessities are in dangerously short supply. At the rite of passage for all graduating students of Ember City School, Mayor Cole stands before the students as their adult occupations are assigned by lottery. Interesting. Dune Harrow, the son of inventor and repairman Loris Harrow, is assigned messenger while his classmate... One second, man. Lena Mayfleet is assigned pipeworks shortly after the two secretly exchange assignments, and Dune is an apprentice to the elderly technician Sewell. At home, Lena is a descendant of the seventh mayor.
By the way, played by Martin Landau, but continue.
Finds the open box and enlists Dune's help to decipher its contents. Gradually, they learn that it contains a set of instructions and directions for an exit from the city and the pipeworks. Later, after evading gigantic star-nosed mole, they also discovered that Mayor Cole has been hoarding canned food in a secret vault for his own benefit while the people go hungry. When Lena attempts to report this, the mayor captures her and tries to steal the box, but she escapes during a blackout. Now fugitives from the mayor's police, Lena and Dune, accompanied by Lena's sister Poppy, use the instructions and assistance from Sewell to flee the city via a subterranean river. When the repercussions of their actions trigger a panic in Ember, the mayor locks himself in his vault, only to be devoured by the giant mole. Dune, Lena, and Poppy eventually reach the Earth's surface, where they, for the first time in their lives, witness a sunrise. They also locate Ember in a hole in the ground, too far for them to call to anyone. So before they...
What's interesting, there's something missing from this...
Let me just listen the last sentence. So before they explore, they drop a letter with information on how to get out, tied to a rock into Ember, where it is found by Loris. So what are you saying?
This is a very bad explanation of the plot. The most important stuff they missed out, which is the following. Mm-hmm. The engineers of the city, right? Mm-hmm. The entire city was engineered in this ingenious way, with literally every step of the process of survival already encoded in the design of the city and the design of the structure of how people live, the culture. So the culture, everything was prepared for the people, for the survivors. After 200 years, when this box opens, instructing them, people are supposed to follow the instructions. But the engineers of the city built the city in such a way that in 200 years' time, the city itself begins to, in a sense, dismantle, and these kind of like roller coaster like pathways open up that are supposed to transport the people back to the surface, because it was meant to keep them under there for 200 years to shield them from the radiation of the catastrophe. Okay, so, and then they finally emerge on the surface to see the sun rise for the first time. Okay, in 200 years. So why am I bringing this up? Because this is a very close description to the Jewish community, the religious Jewish community as it is now. And it's a weird set of circumstances, and it's a lot of the stuff that they deal with, right? I mean, I guess the people who grew up in it, they don't know any different, right? But someone who is like coming from the outside sees that there are things there that like these people are like doomsday preppers, on a religious and cultural level. So and that comes with a hierarchy, right? And also a set of priorities, right? So with that in mind, why should they give you the best, you coming from the outside, right? Now that in a sense, that whole mindset is a gullus mindset. It's a exile. It's a mindset of exile. It's a mental block. It's actually anti-Torah, right? But it's not a normal situation. Like there are even situations that we read about in Tanakh when there are, let's say, giant, like when there's, what do you call it? Like hungers, like what's wrong with me? What do you call it when there's no food?
Famine?
Famine, yeah, God, sorry, right? So there's like, when there's a famine, there's special laws that come into effect. Like you can't, you can't have relations with your wife because, a child conceived or born in a famine. That's like, I'm not exactly sure if I'm saying that correctly, but there are special things that come into effect in special circumstances. So the Jewish community has been, in a sense, in those special circumstances for at least 2,000 years, right? So it's going to take a little while to shake out of that. Okay, so the way that the society is structured is that they want to make sure that the best girls go to, and however that's judged, right? The best girls, the truly like religious girls, right? That are Yirat Shemayim, that have fear of heaven, right? And so those girls have to be matched up with who the community knows to be Yirat Shemayim boys. So they think. Right? Okay. So with that in mind, it's understandable why they're not, completely open to like, yeah, sure, come. They don't know us. So what does that mean for us? Okay, so fine, we understand them, we forgive them, it's all understandable, no more chip on the shoulder. But what does that mean for us? And let's focus more on you. What that means for you is that you have to understand that you are on your own in this respect. But what that means is that you're not on your own. What that means is that you can, it's in a sense a liberation. Because people who rely on the community, they're essentially relying on man. And what does King David say about relying on man? Not good. Okay. Do not rely on nobles nor on their favors or their loans or anything, right? I'm paraphrasing, okay? So that gives you an opportunity. Once you release yourself from this angst that you have towards the community, which is hard to do, you will feel 1,000 pounds lighter, and you will make much more progress towards establishing a relationship with the boss, the one who is really in charge. And I'm not giving you some kind of lovey-dovey bullshit. Like, oh, your soul will lift up and you'll have this rapturous, lovely relationship with God. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not against that. If you can muster that, be my guest. I can't, not at this point. What I'm saying is that you have a closer relationship with reality. The reality is he's the actual boss that you have to appeal to.
Yeah.
Forget about people. If you appeal to the boss correctly, if he decides, God will be like, oh yeah, watch this. I'm sending you the Rebbe's daughter. The Rebbe's daughter, right?
Yeah.
The princess of the community will be your wife. He'll do that just to show you. Well, I don't know if he will do that. I'm just saying that he could easily do that should he decide to.
Yeah.
Okay, it's like Rabbi Akiva, right? With Kalva. What was his father?
Kalva Savua. Dog.
Kalva Savua.
Dog. Something.
No. Kalva Savua is his nickname. It means
I know.
a dog, a satisfied dog.
Yeah.
Why? Why do they call him that?
Yeah.
Because he was such a generous man.
Satiated dog.
He fed everybody, and he even fed hungry dogs.
Yeah. The vow of the satiated dog. Nedarim 50. Interesting.
Okay, so Kalva Savua, he was a rich, rancher. Right? And Rabbi Akiva was a wrangler. He was a cattle wrangler. He's a cowboy.
Yeah.
He's an ancient cowboy. Okay? And he was a complete, his parents were converts. Or one of his parents came from converts, something like that. Okay?
Yeah.
And so, but he was, at least for the first part of his life, first 40 years, by the way, Greg, okay, not really into the whole religious scene.
Yeah.
In fact, he had a lot of animosity towards rabbis.
Yeah, he used to bite.
Rabbi Akiva is our Moses.
He bit like a donkey.
Right. He says, I would bite them like a donkey.
Yeah.
Right.
Because a donkey crushes your bones.
Which is, by the way, a carefully chosen.
Yeah. It crushes your bones. That's the reason.
No, that's not why. There's plenty of animals that have a much more powerful bite than a donkey. The reason why he chose donkey specifically is because he used to be Shechem in a Gilgal. He is a Gilgal of Shechem ben Hamor.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
That's tradition we received.
So,
but I don't want to get into that.
I want to read this real quick. The from Sachem. It was taught in a Braita that Rabbi Akiva said, when I was an ignoramus, I said, "Who will give me a Torah scholar so that I will bite him like a donkey?" His students said to him, "Master, say that you will bite him like a dog. Get off the phone, ching chang, flippin' chong."
That might have been me, actually.
Okay. He said to them,
because I picked up the phone for a second.
Okay. He said to them, "I specifically use that wording as this one, a donkey bites and breaks bones, and that one, a dog bites but does not break bones." This is from Gemara, so that's what Akiva said. There were at that time in Jerusalem these three wealthy people, Naktimon ben Gurion, that's funny, ben Kalva Savua, and ben Tzitzit HaKesat. The Gemara explains their names, Naktimon ben Gurion, because the sun shined, Nakad. This is already something. Ben Kalva Savua was called this because anyone who entered his house when he was hungry as a dog would leave satiated. Ben Tzitzit HaKesat was referred to by that name because his ritual fringes tzitzit dragged along on blankets. It says Gemara further relates, Ksubas, Rabbi Akiva was a shepherd of Ben Kalva Savua, one of the wealthy residents of Jerusalem. The daughter of Ben Kalva Savua saw that he was humble and refined. She said to him, "If I betroth myself to you, will you go to the study hall to learn Torah?" He said to her, "Yes." She became betrothed to him privately and sent him off to study. Her father heard this and became angry. He removed her from his house and took a vow prohibiting her from benefiting from his property. Yeah, this is actually, by the way, in the winter, this is from the Dharm, they would sleep in a storehouse of straw, and Rabbi Akiva would gather strands of straw from her hair. He said to her, "If I had the means, I would place on your head a Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, a type of crown." Elijah the prophet came and appeared to them as a regular person and started knocking on their door. He said to them, "Give me a bit of straw, as my wife gave birth and I do not have anything on which to lay her." Rabbi Akiva said to his wife, "See this man who does not even have straw. We should be happy with our lot, as we at least have straw to sleep on." Yeah. So no. So that's what he told these students that it's because the donkey bites bones, breaks bones, and the dog doesn't break bones. That's what
Okay,
Psachim.
there are
Yeah.
still other. The point
Yeah.
the point is there are still other animals.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, a lot of times the dog
Yeah.
has something to do with klippa.
Yeah.
Because the word kelev,
Mm-hmm.
right, and klippa, they have a similar phonetic connection.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that dogs are part of the klippa. Okay, relax, people.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying that there's something there.
Yeah.
But and also there are animals that bite much harder that they had than either donkeys or dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, they had freaking hyenas in Israel.
Yeah.
They had lions. They had hippos. They had everything. All the African wildlife that we see used to have a presence in Israel too.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are plenty of leopards have one of the most powerful bites in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are plenty of animals that he could have. Dude, there are stories about Rabbi Akiva who his donkey was killed by a lion during one of his travels.
Yeah.
It's something that happened to him. So okay, so there's plenty of things to choose from. So there's the reason why he chose, and also bones. What does that mean, bones? That had etzem probably, right? And that has something to do with a certain level of soul. Nothing is simple in the Talmud. Everything is a midrashic statement, meaning a statement full of meaning, layers and layers and layers of meaning. There's not a single like uncarefully chosen word. Yeah. So I'm saying, but yeah. So anyway, in conclusion, the only option is to get in good with the boss, and he'll send you his daughter. That's God. God's the boss, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I see.